everyone? My name is Jamon McKinney, or you can just call me Juice, because that is my nickname. Let me keep it a $150 with you guys. I'm going to cut straight to the point right here. And I made an episode about this roughly 6 months ago. You know, it was around, maybe not 6 months ago, but it was around the midway point of the NFL season this past year. And honestly, my opinion has not changed from that time, from the time that I made that episode. I believe the Los Angeles Rams are in trouble going forward. You know, I just made a record prediction video not too long ago talking about how the Rams are going to go 5-11 this year. Now, they could prove me wrong. They could go out and win 6, 7, maybe 8 games, but I don't think the Rams are a playoff team going forward. And in reality, I'm usually right about things because Los Angeles Rams fans got mad at me. They were crying. They were typing in the comment section saying, we're going to be a playoff team. When I told them, nope, you're not a playoff team last year. And guess what? I was right. So, Rams fans, you better start listening to your boy, because I'm the guy that gives you the medicine that you need to have, okay? But listen, this team is going to go into the tank going forward, in my opinion. I don't think the future is bright with the Los Angeles Rams going forward. And it's pretty crazy because in 2017, this team won 13 games, and Jared Goff and the crew, they went to a Super Bowl. You know, they beat the Saints in the NFC Championship game. I picked them to beat the Saints in the NFC Championship game. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl versus the Patriots. That's one of the few things I've been wrong about recently, okay? I'm going to hold the L on that, okay? But either way, this team was in a Super Bowl not too long ago, and they only scored 3 points versus the Patriots, and they lost, okay? And the thing about the Rams that you have to realize is that in 2017, during the offseason, they spent a lot of money in free agency. You know, they acquired Aqib Talib. They got Marcus Peters in the building. They acquired Ndamukong Suh. They got all these big-name players. And guess what? Most of them are not on the team anymore. Ndamukong Suh, not on the team anymore. Marcus Peters, no longer on the team. Aqib Talib, no longer on the team. In reality, when the Rams lost the Super Bowl, they got left at the wedding altar. They spent all this money in free agency to try to get to the big-time prize. And that was the Super Bowl. Have you ever met a girl, you know, in which you thought she was the one? So as a result, you spend a bunch of money on her, you buy her flowers, you take her to dinner, you do all the right things. You get to that point where you ask her to be your girlfriend. And then she says no. Or she tells you, I'm not into you as much as you think. Have you ever been in that situation? Because that's what the Rams witnessed when they got shellacked in the Super Bowl by the Patriots. They did all those things. They made all those moves to get left at the altar. And getting left at the altar is tough, man, because you got to start all over. You have to find a new girl. You have to learn her new favorite color. You have to learn her new favorite food. You have to learn her new habits. You have to start all over. You have to invest new energy. And the Rams, they have not had the energy to get back on track, in my opinion. Just saying, man. And listen, going forward, the reason why I'm not super high on the Rams as far as having a bright future is because their division has caught up to them. And they're not recovering. They are not recovering. You look at the Rams division right now. Sean McVay is the 3rd best head coach in this division. And in about 2 to 3 seasons, Cliff Kingsbury could surpass Sean McVay. Kyle Shanahan is more creative. He makes better adjustments. I think he gets more talent out of his players than Sean McVay. I think he does more with less. I look at Pete Carroll, and he's won a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. So I don't think that I'm going to put Sean McVay over a Super Bowl winning champion and a guy that consistently makes the playoffs every single year in Pete Carroll. He's not better than Pete Carroll right now. So you got the 3rd to 4th best head coach in your own division. And honestly, Jared Goff might be on his way to becoming the worst quarterback in this division. That's just the honest, harsh truth. Now, as of right now, if I were drafting quarterbacks, I would give the slight edge to Jared Goff over Jimmy Garoppolo in this division currently. I think Russell Wilson is easily the best quarterback in this division. And I do think that Kyler Murray is actually, in my opinion, from a talent perspective, head and shoulders above Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo. But let's stick to Jimmy Garoppolo and Jared Goff right now. And I will get to Kyler Murray in a second, okay? But either way, the reason why I think Jared Goff right now is better than Jimmy Garoppolo is because when Jared Goff got the Rams to a Super Bowl, he at times was more so the reason that team was winning. He was playing like an MVP candidate that year, and he beat Drew Brees in the Superdome, okay, to get to the Super Bowl. So Jared Goff at his best is better than Jimmy Garoppolo at his best. But honestly, you can make the argument that Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Jared Goff right now, because what we saw from Jimmy Garoppolo this past year, that was his first year as a full-time starter. So going forward, Jimmy Garoppolo could easily pass Jared Goff. And looking at how the 49ers roster is constructed, if you had to ask me who's going to have the better season going forward and who's put in a better position to succeed between his weapons, his defense, his supporting cast, and his head coach, I'd say that Jimmy Garoppolo is eventually going to surpass Jared Goff. And Jared Goff did not impress me this past year. So eventually Jared Goff could become the worst quarterback in this division. Now let's talk about Kyler Murray when comparing him to Jared Goff. Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Just turn on the tape, people. It's not rocket science. Kyler Murray is a better runner of the football. Kyler Murray has a stronger arm. Kyler Murray is a more dynamic playmaker. And overall, Kyler Murray is more accurate, and he's just flat out a better quarterback than Jared Goff. He just is, guys. And listen, when you have the fourth best quarterback in your own division, you tend to finish last. Example, Redskins last year, last in the division, had the worst quarterback in their division. The Lions, they were last in the division last year. The Jaguars, they were last in their division last year. The Dolphins, the Chargers, who had Philip Rivers, who was a corpse last year, who's washed up in my opinion. The Bengals, the Panthers, when Cam Newton was hurt, they had Kyle Allen starting games. All the teams that have the worst quarterback and coach in their division, they tend to finish last. Going forward, the Rams are not close to these teams. I don't think so. And let's evaluate Jared Goff, because a lot of people think Jared Goff is this amazing quarterback because he went to a Super Bowl. I admit, getting to a Super Bowl is a very hard thing to do. But Nick Foles got to a Super Bowl. Is he one of the 15 best quarterbacks in football? I don't think so. Is he even top 20? Maybe on some days. Trent Dilfer got to a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer threw more interceptions than touchdown passes in his career. That's not impressive. Brad Johnson made it to a Super Bowl. That's not a world beater right there. The Rams overpaid Jared Goff. Let's evaluate Jared Goff again right here, okay? So, I was doing some research the other day, and I decided to look up a couple of things. I looked up how good Jared Goff is when we take away his best season and his worst season. The thing that makes Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Russell Wilson such great quarterbacks is the fact that when you take away their best and worst season, they still are elite quarterbacks. They still have a lot of elite years under their belt. Any great singer, any great actor is not a product of their best and worst performance. What defies, Drake, Jay-Z, Kanye West is the fact that they have so many other great albums outside their best work. They're consistent. So I did a study in which I took away Jared Goff's worst season, which was his rookie season, and I took away his best season, which was, the season he went to a Super Bowl, okay? And what do we have right here? A 62.5% completion percentage, 50 touchdown passes, 23 interceptions, and 93.5 pass rating. That is a B to a B minus quarterback. And he does win about 64% of his games, which is good for about 10 wins a season if you average things out, if you round up the percentages. But considering the fact that Jared Goff has had above average wide receivers, above average running backs, above average offensive lines, a very creative head coach in Sean McVay, That's not overly impressive in my opinion, considering the things that he has around him, okay? That's not super impressive, you know? It really isn't. Not to mention he has Aaron Donald on the other side of the football getting after a quarterback for him, okay? And this past year, Jared Goff, he completed 63% of his throws, threw 22 touchdown passes to 16 interceptions, and had an 86.5 passer rating. That's not good enough. That's not a quarterback that is worth $33.5 million per year. That's how much Jared Goff is being paid based off his new contract extension. So Jared Goff, when you take away his best and worst season, he's a B to a B minus quarterback. Not to mention, the Los Angeles Rams have the 30th most cap space in the NFL right now. They rank 30th among teams as far as cap space in the NFL right now. They just don't have the money to bring in any more free agents to improve their roster. And if they are going to bring in some of those guys, it's going to be marginal players on cheap deals. And looking at their 2021 NFL draft picks right here, they don't have a first round pick, they don't have a fourth round pick, and they don't have a fifth round pick. They have an aging offensive line and a defense that is not nearly as good as it was 2 seasons ago. And let's just take away their division opponents. They're not as good as the Packers right now. They're not as good as the Vikings right now. They're not as good as the Saints. They're not as good as the Buccaneers. They're not as good as the Eagles. They're not as good as the Cowboys. And honestly, looking at Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones in the NFC East, I think that those quarterbacks have a chance to become pretty good players. And going forward, if Chase Young is as good as we think he is, and if Daniel Jones and Joe Judge connect as a head coach and quarterback duo, that's another team that is going to be on the rise in the NFL. Going forward, I do not believe in this Los Angeles Rams team, and the only way this team can be saved is if Jared Goff starts to play at an MVP level consistently, and to be honest with you, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.